All right, Chapter 15, Think and Discuss. Got two problems from this one. 101, after a machinist very quickly slips a hot, snugly fitting iron ring or very cold brass cylinder, the two cannot be separated intact. Why is this so? So you have an hot object and a cold object. Heat flows from hot to cold, and so the iron is going to cool down, and the iron is going to cool down, and the brass is going to heat up. And so the brass should expand, and the iron ring is going to cool down, and so that they will be very tightly fitted, because one's shrinking and one is expanding. So once they reach an equilibrium temperature, then basically they're going to roughly experience the same temperature change at the same time. Metals conduct the thermal energy, not the best wording, but will conduct the thermal energy reasonably similarly. At that point, it comes down to, now I put energy into it. We have two different things going on here. One, they're going to change temperature, and because they change temperature, they're going to change size. And so, as we look at it, iron has a higher specific heat, and so it will change temperature more quickly than the brass will. However, brass is going to expand faster than the iron will. And so I put in a certain amount of energy, and the iron heats up, the brass heats up, and the iron heats up, but the brass will expand basically 61% more than the iron will for the same amount of temperature change, but an iron will only increase in temperature by about 18% more than the brass will for the same amount of energy. So ultimately the brass will be expanding more than the iron will. And so the only way that you'd be able to disconnect it is to cool them both down. But generally, whatever machine part they're working in, that's room temperature is going to be as low as it's going to get. Potentially also, as the brass expands and the iron shrinks early on, that the iron potentially will make an indentation in the brass. It really depends upon the strength of the materials, and that's something I don't know, but it might make an indentation so that it just will not slip at all. So that is 101. And then 102, if I had a ring like this and I heated it up, it would expand. Basically, it would go from something like this to something bigger. And so the gap, if there's a gap in it, the thing is still going to expand. That gap basically would be where the material would have been. So the whole thing will expand, including the gap. And that's it for the Think and Discuss.